The book with blank pages that still spoke, a Zen story about meaning beyond words. What if silence was not empty, but simply something the mind has forgotten how to listen to? In a quiet mountain village, surrounded by mist and slow wind, there was an old library that few people visited anymore. Not because it was hidden, but because most believed it had nothing left to offer. Inside, everything felt still in a way that was almost heavy, like even thoughts had learned to move more quietly there. And at the center of the room stood a single book on a wooden pedestal. No title, no author, no markings of origin, and when opened, every page was blank. People came out of curiosity or hope, or simply because they were carrying questions they could not place anywhere else. They would open the book and turn page after page, expecting something hidden to appear between the lines. But nothing ever did, only blank pages, only silence, and every visitor eventually reached the same conclusion: it is empty. Some said it with disappointment, some with frustration, some with a quiet laugh, as if the book had failed to give them what they came for. The old librarian never corrected them. He simply listened, and when the room became quiet again, he would say the same words: "It only speaks when you stop asking it to." Most people did not understand this, and because they did not understand it immediately, they dismissed it. So the library grew quieter over time, except for the book, which never changed. It remained as it was, unmoving, unbothered, present without effort. Years passed in the rhythm of seasons, and then one day a traveler arrived. He was not curious in the way others were. He was tired, the kind of tired that comes from too many explanations that never bring peace. He had spent years reading teachings, philosophies, and answers, yet his mind had only become more crowded, not clearer. More words, less silence, more understanding, less rest. When he entered the library, he did not ask anything. He simply walked until he found the pedestal, and there it was, the book, still blank, still unchanged, waiting without expectation. He stood there for a long time before touching it, not because he was unsure, but because something about it did not ask to be rushed. Finally, he opened it. At first, nothing changed. Blank pages, no message, no hidden meaning, no explanation waiting to be discovered. And immediately the mind did what it always did. What is this supposed to mean? What am I missing? What is the truth here? But there was nothing to solve, nothing to complete, nothing to understand in the usual way. And slowly something unfamiliar began to happen. The need for an answer started to weaken, not because it was satisfied, but because it was no longer necessary. He stayed seated. Minutes passed, then more. The silence of the book did not feel empty anymore. It felt steady, whole, unmoving in a way that did not require interpretation. And in that stillness, his thoughts began to lose urgency. They were still there, but they were no longer leading. For the first time, he noticed something subtle. He was not trapped inside his thoughts trying to fix them. He was simply aware of them passing through, like wind moving through open space, like water flowing without resistance, like life continuing without needing to be explained in order to be real. The librarian finally spoke again without looking up. "You have spent your life trying to turn the world into something you can understand. But some things become smaller the moment you force them into explanation." The traveler did not answer, because something in him already understood without needing words. He looked again at the book, and this time he stopped asking it to become anything. He stopped expecting meaning to appear, and he stopped turning silence into a question. And in that moment, something quietly reversed. The book was no longer something to read. It became the space in which his need to read dissolved. Time passed without being measured, and eventually he closed it, not because he finished, but because there was nothing left he needed it to give him. Before leaving, he paused at the door. The world outside was unchanged, but he was not. The mountains were still mountains. The wind still moved through trees. The sky still offered no explanation for itself, but his mind no longer demanded one. Many people believe peace comes from understanding everything, but sometimes peace begins when the mind stops demanding that life be explained. Not everything is meant to become knowledge. Some things are meant to be experienced directly, without being reduced into words. The sky does not explain itself, the river does not justify its movement, and silence does not require permission to exist. So when your thoughts become loud with questions that never settle, remember this. There are moments that are not missing answers. They are simply beyond the need for them. And sometimes the deepest clarity is not understanding more, but needing less. Thank you for listening. If this story brought you reflection or calm, please support the channel. Zen days ahead.